Welcome to Beyond the O.R. with Dr. Kevin Brenner. I'm a board-certified plastic surgeon in Beverly Hills. I want to take you beyond my world of plastic surgery, diving deep into exciting hot topics and delving even deeper into compelling characters that I've met along the way. We'll be talking with attorneys, actors, comedy writers, Navy SEALs, and many other fascinating and inspiring people with truly intriguing stories to share. So let's jump right in. Welcome back to Beyond the O.R. I am really excited for our fantastic guest today. Not only is she a leader in governance, not only is she the mayor of Beverly Hills, but most importantly, she is what I consider to be a very good friend of mine, Mayor Lili Bosse. Lili,
hello.
Welcome to our studio. We've been talking about this for a little bit.
I know, we are so excited.
And we got you here.
I am excited myself.
I didn't see the Secret Service outside.
No,
so
they're inside.
Okay.
I do want to clarify, though,
Yes.
that I am currently, at this moment, not the mayor. Just so you know.
Listen.
I mean, you know.
These are minor details.
Okay. I have been mayor 3 times.
This I know.
Yes.
And I am now currently a council member. Just the way it works in our city is we rotate every year. So I just don't want to take a title that isn't mine at this exact moment.
Well, that's the only reason we were having you on
I know,
today.
so is it over?
I
Are we
think
done?
should we just cancel it.
Well,
So
I'm
you're-
thrilled to be here. Thank you.
So, but you're still mayor. It's just like once you're president,
Yeah,
you're always
that's what
president.
that's true. It's like you're
Unfortunately
still
for some of
doctor.
us.
You're going to always be the doctor.
This is
so,
true.
Yeah.
You earned the title, so you get it.
Yeah.
You know, part of the genesis of most of the guests that come on the show are people who I find intriguing and interesting, and people who have crossed.
And so they canceled,
paths.
and that's why I'm on.
That's exactly. You were the first person on the B list that we were able to get on.
Oh no, Lily, please don't get him going. Don't get him started. He
Wow.
already thinks he's funny.
Well, and I think he's funny too.
I am funny. I am funny. So no, but I like kind of the reason that Elizabeth and I agreed to do this in the first place is I really enjoy learning like people's genesis story. So today, apart from all your accolades and accomplishments that we're going to kind of touch on, we want to kind of get your genesis story. I know a lot of it, but our viewers and our listeners don't necessarily. And so today I want them to learn the inner workings of Lili Bosse.
I'd love to share it.
So you, like me, are from Beverly Hills, right?
Yes.
Not only were you the mayor of Beverly Hills 3 times, but you live in Beverly Hills. You grew up in Beverly Hills.
Yeah,
You went
the
to
schools.
grammar school and high school in Beverly Hills.
Yes.
I also grew up in Beverly Hills. I went to Beverly Vista just like you did.
That's it. Go Bulldogs.
But I did get eventually kicked out of Beverly Hills for moving to Beverly Hills Post Office.
that'll
We don't
do
need to
it.
get into
Yeah, that'll
details.
do
So,
it.
so I ended
Gotta
up
get
going to
rid-
Uni High School.
Well, uni's good too, though.
Uni was great.
Yeah.
My girlfriend was at Beverly though.
Okay. Well,
So,
yeah.
but growing up in Beverly Hills is kind of a unique thing, no?
Absolutely. I think, well, for me, I think part of that shaped me. You know, my parents were immigrants. They were Holocaust survivors. They moved to Beverly Hills because Beverly Hills was world famous, and they felt that they would be able to provide the American dream for their only daughter. So I think that was part of it.
And you were what age when you moved?
9. I grew up originally in Queens, New York, which was really a true immigrant experience there. Everybody there spoke every language, from Russian to Polish to German to, people coming from Ellis Island, essentially. But then when I was 9 years old, my parents felt like they wanted to move to California, just like you see in the movies. And literally my parents drove from New York City all across country to Beverly Hills, where they found an apartment. And I lived there with them until they ultimately had a small home there.
Found an apartment, and this is an important detail.
Yes.
On South Maple Drive.
Well, close.
Am I right?
Close. They found an apartment on Rexford Drive, which is a block away, and lived there until they found their home, which I grew up in, which is on Maple Drive. And that's literally 2 blocks away from Beverly Vista School. And I would skateboard to school, by the way.
Oh my God.
I, like you, moved to Beverly Hills except I was 3 when my parents got divorced.
Mm-hmm.
We only came in from Canoga Park, so it wasn't quite so far.
Okay, not as long of a drive.
But my brother and I, with my mom, moved into an apartment on South Maple Drive.
So if you moved on South Maple Drive, you were just south of Wilshire Boulevard, because the first street.
No, South Maple Drive.
Yes.
Between Pico and Olympus.
But shall we say that there's no coincidence that we both essentially did grow up on Maple Drive?
See?
There's another connection between us.
No, I know. And all these years later, all these years have gone by and didn't know any of that until now.
Yeah, well.
What do you think the biggest misconception about Beverly Hills is?
For me, I think people see the glamour of Beverly Hills in the movies. They see, the luxury, the big, mansions, Rodeo Drive. They see that, the glitz and the glamour. But what I see in Beverly Hills, and what I think the truth is about Beverly Hills, well, first of all, most people don't know that 60% of people who live in Beverly Hills live in apartments. So they don't live in these big mansion homes that you see in the movies. But what I think makes Beverly Hills so unique and special is that it's a real small town sense of feeling. People genuinely who live there care about each other, know each other, they go to the schools together. There's a sense of a small town, kind of Mayberry RFD feeling if you live in Beverly Hills.
Like
and I don't think people
community.
have a tremendous sense of community. That you would see in small town anywhere, USA. And I think that's what makes Beverly Hills magical, because it's well-renowned, everyone knows it and sees a part of it. But I think the best part of Beverly Hills is that it has heart, and it has connection, and it has community. And I think that's something that a lot of people don't know unless they grow up there and get that experience.
Which I did, and I never really appreciated it much because until I went away to college, because I don't think most Americans think that people actually live in Beverly Hills. I think they think of it as more of a business center of operations, and that celebrities live there, but regular people like me and you do not live in Beverly Hills.
But I have to tell you, for me, as an elected official, that was a big priority for me, was to really kind of change that paradigm. I wanted to be that elected official that was very accessible, that brought community together, that changed that feeling that people didn't feel that Beverly Hills was separate. So I don't know if you know, but I did something called Walk with the Mayor.
Yes.
Where literally I would meet in front of City Hall every Monday, and I'd invite anybody and everybody to come. We had hundreds of people in the community that would walk together, connect together. People would stay at the hotels, and they would tell guests at the hotel, if you want to come meet the mayor, come. So I think that was a step to really show that Beverly Hills is not something that that's untouchable, that we are, we want to be connected with one another.
So would you say that was one of the main reasons why you decided to get involved in politics in the first place?
I think my nature, well, first of all, I'm an only child of Holocaust survivors. So I think I've always been somebody that loves connection and loves community and loves the sense of family. Like when I was growing up, I was always drawn to friends that had bigger families. When I was in high school or when I was in BV, I was always the one that was like the social coordinator. So I think it just was a natural extension for me to try and bring people together and create an extended family. So it went from your school classroom to ultimately do that with 35,000 people, residents. I think it's my personality and my nature. I'm an open book and I love connection.
Right, I agree with you. That's one of the first things I noticed about you. I would venture to guess that most mayors, elected officials, politicians, like when they
if they were to plan an event like Walk with the Mayor, I mean, you're not going to have Walk with the President, but like Walk with the Mayor. As far as I'm concerned, that's usually like, oh my God, they're running for re-election, and it's some sort of PR blitz stunt. Always an agenda, always some sort of secondary gain. The sense I get from you is that there's none of that. The sense I get from you is that this is all about the people. This is all about
City.
Connecting with people, because I think you have a special way of connecting people. I think you not only get to know them, but I think you really see people for who they are. And I think that's unique among people in general, but in particularly among politicians.
Well, thank you for that.
Not that you're really.
No,
you don't. No one would talk to you and be like, "Oh, it's a politician."
Yeah,
right?
I think to me it's a two-way street. In order to have a connection, I think one has to see the person and also be willing to be seen, because that to me is a real connection. So I want people to know that I'm really listening, I'm really seeing them, but I also show them who I am, and I show them my vulnerability, and I show them, what I'm feeling. And that to me is very different than, like, in the past, other mayors prior to me, they would do something like office hours with, mayor or whatever, and they would give them like 10 minutes with the resident, and there would be a staff member there, and, And when I proposed that I wanted to do Walk with the Mayor, and I mentioned it to, the city staff, their first response was, that's kind of crazy. Nobody's going to show up, and that you're going to do that like once a month. And I said, no, I'm doing it every Monday. We're going to do it every Monday, and whoever shows up, shows up. So the first time we did it, we had 25 people, second time 50 people, and then it grew to 400, 600 and such. But it's really, for me, it's about me being accessible also. I give everybody my cell phone number. I've always done that.
You haven't given me your cell phone number.
Oh, well, yeah, well then.
I have John's cell phone number, but I don't think
Smart lady.
So yes, so I think it's a two-way street.
you have some boundaries.
Not really very good, but
so
yes.
what do you think? Do you think you got more out of the walks with the mayor, or do you think the constituents and the residents of Beverly Hills got more out of it?
I think we all did. I mean, I can tell you, that experience, I think, was really a very, very connecting. And people are still friends. There were people that actually met and got married. People did business networking. The other part of Walk with the Mayor, other than walking, I started, it was during our city's 100th birthday. So it was our centennial year. Big honor to be the mayor during a centennial year. And I was thinking, when it's a big birthday, you reflect on health. You reflect on what would make a healthy city, which was part of my initiative. I think that for all of us, connections, people got to know each other. I also brought people into businesses. That was the other part of Walk with the Mayor. We actually walked to businesses in the city because I wanted to introduce the residents to new businesses. So there was that as well.
Did that have any correlation with, I forget the name of the program that you started, where you had recommended that certain businesses stay open beyond the normal business hour?
That was bold. That separate programs. I've always been very pro residents, very pro business, very much about connection. So every initiative I've ever done has always had woven into it a sense of connecting people with, whether it's businesses, with each other. I did a program called Live with Lili, similar to this type of a format, where it was essentially a town hall, where I created, instead of coming to City Hall and you're sitting up on top of a dais and you're talking down, I created an environment like this where I took a space in City Hall and made it like a living room, and sat here and had everybody in a room kind of like in a semicircle, and I said, let's talk about whatever you want to talk about. It was aired live. There was no time. It was aired live, so anything anybody would say, it would be there. People could zoom in. And the only ground rules were, I said, you can talk about anything, bring it, I can handle it. I'll be very honest and open with you. The only thing I ask is that you be kind. You be kind to each other, and that we keep a sense of civility. So we did that, and I can tell that people at City Hall were nervous because, there's always somebody who's upset about something. But I can tell you that nobody ever crossed the line. They might have been upset about an issue or about a vote, but that sense of civility and decorum was there for all of that.
Does that not normally happen in when like city council has
of course
meetings
not.
and there's because a
But
lot of
that's-
homeowners will come in and voice their opinions about stuff, right?
Absolutely, but I welcome that. I think that's how we can really hear each other. I don't expect people to always be happy about everything. But I think and hope that, and I think it's more effective, where if you're upset about something, that you do it in a respectful way, and you share, what it is that you're upset about, as opposed to yelling at somebody or attacking somebody personally or such. But, I've always been welcoming of everything, and I will always listen and try and be respectful.
Wait, and I'm sorry. That is so amazing because, I don't know the mayor of Calabasas. Does Calabasas have a mayor?
I know the mayor of Calabasas,
Okay.
actually the one who was just elected.
So for you to be in your community and they have access to you, that is something that no wonder you were 3 terms as a mayor, because that's something that is unheard of, to have access to your own mayor and be able to go walk and talk and meet and greet. So that is amazing. Also, something you said, which was your parents were Holocaust survivors.
Yes.
How do you think growing up with parents that were Holocaust survivors, how did that motivate you, or did that have any effect on you to want to now be a mayor, bring this sense of community, bring acceptance, build this community? Did having parents that were Holocaust survivors, do you think that kind of fed into maybe your passion?
I mean, Elizabeth, that is such an incredible question, because when I ran for office the first time, part of what I shared with everyone was I am a daughter of Holocaust survivors. And people would say to me, why are you mentioning that? Why aren't you talking about all the other things that you've done in the community, being on the planning commission, your resume of whatever you've done? What does that have to do with being in political office? Why should we vote for you because of that?
Right.
And fair question. And I said, because it absolutely shaped me. Everything that I am, I really very much believe is because of that. The sense of really recognizing the importance of community, because my parents lost their whole community. The sense of giving back, the sense of integrity, of really knowing what matters in life, I really believe is something I learned because I watched what my parents went through. And that's why I really feel that's part of my DNA. And I think that's why when I ran, I would give everyone my cell phone number. When I was mayor the last time, I literally, there's, chats, where I was on 9 chats, and I would sleep with earbuds.
Oh my goodness.
So if somebody had something happen at 2 o'clock in the morning, I would hear it and wake up, hear it, call PD, whatever. So I think there's just a sense of duty, responsibility, and understanding the value of community that I learned by being a child of Holocaust survivor. So it absolutely.
Protection, because
Absolutely.
I'm sure your parents lost their family,
Yes.
their friends, everything that they once knew.
Yes.
So there is this, I would
You're
think
100%
that
right.
growing up, you want to protect these very beautiful things that your parents lost.
Absolutely, and I think that's my nature. I'm that way, interpersonally with people. I mean, it's like they are sacred to me. If somebody is a friend, it's sacred. My community is sacred. So whenever I'm involved with something, I am all in with every fiber of my being. And I, to your point, Kevin, I mean, there's a lot of people that I've served with that are very good at for them for boundaries in terms of, this is their job as an elected official, but they have staff do this, staff do that. I was never that type of person.
So fair to say that
Life, work, balance.
No, I'm saying, during each term, like it's 24/7.
Yeah, and I would have to say, that is 100% true as mayor, but even when I'm not the mayor, even if I'm a councilwoman, I'm still the same way. And when I was mayor, when I was elected the last time as mayor, and John, said jokingly, but he was right. He's like, okay, see you in a year, because
Right.
I am all in. But even when I'm a councilwoman, I don't give any less of my time. I don't do anything less. The only difference is I don't have the initiatives that take up that part of the time. But the same workload, the same accessibility, that stays the same, for sure.
Yeah, and because I've noticed, well, at least it's just in talking with you and following you on Instagram, you've been pretty busy since leaving the mayor's office, right? Kind of piggybacking off of a couple things that you said. Obviously, for the last couple months,
Yeah.
a lot of that has been about anti-Semitism.
Yes.
Now, you've been an outspoken advocate for Judaism and for anti-hate
Yes.
and all of those things. That obviously predated October 7th.
Absolutely.
And in fact, it was almost exactly a year ago, right, that you were invited on Dr. Phil,
Yes.
where he did a whole panel about
Anti-Semitism.
anti-Semitism.
Yes.
And you've been a vocal advocate and very outspoken about it well prior to this,
Yes.
right?
Absolutely.
If you're Jewish living in the United States, it's no surprise what's going on, but it's still overwhelming what's going on. You said in your town halls, all you wanted was everyone to be like respectful and kind.
Yes.
Voice your opinion, but be respectful and kind. But now you're getting daggers thrown at you on social media. It's very easy to do that on social media. But I see some of the comments, and like it angers me when I see some of the comments, and you can't. I don't know. It angers me. Does it anger you? You seem pretty calm about it.
Yeah, I think, like you said, this has been a fight that I've had even way before October 7th. But I'm able to maintain my sense of balance and my foundation. Like I can respectfully disagree with somebody. Not everybody can respectfully disagree with others. I think because I grew up with Holocaust survivor parents and saw what hate can do, I really put like a shield around myself of light and goodness, that when people are throwing the daggers and are throwing out some vitriolic statements, I just don't let it penetrate, because I really feel right now, when the world at times feels very dark, I really try to find the light, and the place I find the light is in people like yourselves, people who I know are good people doing good things. So I try to surround myself with people like that, and then I try to be the light. I try to rise above it as much as I can, and not let it penetrate me, because I realize I'm never going to change their mind.
Right. I mean, like, how do you reconcile having grown up with Holocaust survivors, right? So you, just putting in that context, reconcile someone coming to you and saying, "Oh, well, the Holocaust was a myth," right?
Yeah.
I mean, how do you even, you can't even wrap your brain around it when you've lived it.
And
right?
I think to your point, Kevin, I think what I have found is the more somebody says that, the more somebody shows hate or dismisses it, it actually empowers me to talk louder and be more impassioned about it and really fight for it. I think with anti-Semitism or any hatred for that matter, it's meant to make people cower in fear. And what I have found and what I see within myself and even our community is that we become more united. We become even stronger. As somebody's trying to bring us down, we really look to each other to get that strength. So when people bring that, I bring it back, but I bring it back even more because of the fact I know firsthand what hate can do. And I just feel that it's my duty, it's part of my DNA, kind of probably my destiny that I didn't even know at the time. You know, connecting the dots backwards, but I had no idea. And my mom actually had written 2 books about her experience, and her first book was called Destiny. And I believe maybe this was my destiny. I had no idea when I ran for office that during this time, you know, the world would be where it is now. But having somebody who has literally had that experience, I can speak about it firsthand.
Well, and we need more light in this world, and I think when people write those comments, for me, it's a elevated form of bullying to keep you down, to keep you quiet, to keep you. So the fact that you're going to bring it, but you're going to bring it, and you're going to wrap it in love and light, and that even like that it takes those bullies and puts them in another place that they don't want to be, but you can take them with that power of light and truth.
Exactly.
And give it to them, and the bullies don't have the power as long they try to take it away from you.
Yeah.
The fact that you're not allowing them, and it just does unite people even more.
Yeah.
I think is a beautiful statement to your purpose and your destiny.
Yeah, and to me, I think when people do, as you had said earlier in terms of civility, when people approach another individual with anger or bullying, it's not effective if the other person on the other side isn't playing along. I think what happens is if one person is coming negative and then the other person meets them at that place, that's where it goes off. But when somebody comes at me in that way, I just maintain my sense of light, and it just gets diffused.
Exactly,
At
because
least-
it's about them, not about you.
Exactly.
Right, but I hear you. I see you. I hear you.
Yes.
But it with this specific topic, it has become, in many parts of this country and around the world, flashpoints, and has become violent.
Yes.
And there has been, it's not just an uptick in hateful speech. It's been an uptick in hateful acts.
Yes.
And I have been saying, to Danny, I've been saying to everyone, like, I'm just waiting for the other shoe to drop. Like, we're not even close to done with this. It concerns me that, you know, I mean, LA has one of the largest Jewish populations outside of Israel, LA and New York. Beverly Hills also has a very high percentage of Jewish residents.
Yes.
And how has this kind of affected the degree of violence in Beverly Hills? I mean, it was already, the violence in general was already, violence and violent crime, it was already at the highest level I've ever seen it, you know, prior to this, in Beverly Hills specifically, right? I mean, it's ever since, I would say the pinnacle was probably, or maybe it started with George Floyd riots.
Yes.
Right. I mean, you were in city council during that time.
Oh, I was indeed.
And
that was 2020 during the COVID times.
Right. Which was it was just like a really scary time in Beverly Hills.
Yes.
So how did city council, how did city of Beverly Hills, how did they respond to that? I see the increased security all over the city. What else did you guys do in addition to just having private security patrolling the cities?
Well, there's a lot. I mean, and there's different elements of crime that you're mentioning. I mean, at that time, there was a lot of property crime At that time, there were a lot of smash and grabs. A lot of people were going into stores and stealing items and things like that. It was, I think, for me, and probably for all of us, one of the hardest times in our lives. We were dealing with a global pandemic that we didn't know what that looked like. There were people who were upset because there were fights about whether or not you should mask or not mask, get a vaccine, not get a vaccine. Stores had to be shut down.
Right.
The world was turned upside down.
People were scared.
Yes, there was a tremendous amount of anxiety and fear, and there was also political divide, and it was really, I think for me, the most challenging time, both personally and as an elected official. So at that time, we did increase security and such. Then right after that, I became mayor, and that's when I put in, we had cameras, but I put in something with the support of my colleagues called the Real-Time Watch Center, which not only do we have cameras, but now they are watched 24 hours.
Right, so those are the not when you think of police cameras, it's like a red
They're
light,
around the whole
red
city.
light cameras, but there are cameras all over Beverly
We have
Hills,
over 2,000 cameras.
especially in the Golden Triangle, right?
And it's on every street in the residential area, too.
Wow, that's amazing.
It's everywhere, on every corner. I mean, it's, it doesn't face a person's home. It's all in the public right-of-way. So it's on all the public streets.
Like on the intersections and stuff.
Exactly.
So,
And they're watched.
has it helped?
Tremendously.
How so?
Well, now I'm going to go back to your second question in terms of hate crimes, where last year, we had vandalism of somebody who had a menorah in front of their home, and somebody came and broke the menorah, made a swastika and SS on the menorah, and because of the cameras, we were able to catch this person, charge them with a hate crime, and they went to jail. Just last weekend, we had somebody who was walking to synagogue with a yarmulke, and somebody came over and called them a Jew and hit them over the head with a belt. And our PD got this individual, and he's in jail for various crimes that the PD can charge him with: elder abuse, hate crime, assault with a weapon, and all of that. So the having these cameras watched, I think, has really helped deter crime as well. People know that we're a city that if you're going to think about doing something, we're going to catch you, and we're going to prosecute. Absolutely.
Is the Watch Center like an out branch of Beverly Hills PD?
It's part of BHPD and other cities now. As a matter of fact, LA, I've been told, is looking into doing a few intersections to do something similar like that. And I do want to also echo what you had said regarding speech and it can lead to violence, because that was actually part of the reason why I was on the Dr. Phil show, because I don't know if you remember, during 2020, there were leaflets that were dropped off in front of people's homes. I don't know if it made it to your home, but it was happening not just in Beverly Hills, but other cities and other states by a group called GDL, Goyim Defense League. And it was a lot of hate speech towards Jews. And I publicly, and at that time Kanye West had made comments, and I had publicly said that I felt that hate speech does lead to violence. And we have actually seen that. We have seen that in synagogues. We saw that last weekend. And that there's free speech, in my opinion. And hate speech and free speech, I think, is a very fine line. And I think we have to be very careful, because hate speech, and that's exactly what happened last weekend to this couple that was walking. Right before he got hit with a belt, he was called a Jew. And
Right.
then, so I think that there is something that we have to watch.
So this may be a difficult question to answer, and I'm not trying to spring this on you, but like, what do you think? Because I'm trying to wrap my brain around it for a long time. Like, what do you think the genesis of the genesis of the severity and widespread nature of all of this anti-Semitic rhetoric? Like, what's the genesis, apart from being upset with how Israel is responding?
Yeah, because
to
it happened
to the
before October
conflict?
7th. Yeah.
Okay, which I understand the arguments and I hear that, but like prior to that, it still was permeating everywhere. Like, and I never understood why. I mean, like, I grew up being Jewish. I never felt threatened, really, ever growing up. Not even when I went to college or medical school or anything. Like, I just never felt threatened. Not in Chicago, not in Wisconsin, not here, until this last couple months.
From my perspective, I think hate is taught. I think people are either around family members, peers, media, that somehow put a stereotype of a particular religion or culture, and I think that's why back in World War II, the propaganda, the leaflets that were dropped off about Jews, and they would portray Jews a certain way, and it was always negative. Or Jews were doctors, Jews were successful, Jews, and it wasn't spun in a way that was positive. So I think it was taught, and unfortunately, I also think the rise of social media, in this instance, has created a negative element, because people can find others to perpetuate hate through social media.
It's very easy to
Much
leave
easier.
a comment
And do it anonymously.
and share it.
Yeah. And where, when we were younger, there was no such thing as social media. And even with, these rallies and the protests, and you have thousands of people, we couldn't have had that many years ago because people couldn't connect with each other that way. We didn't have cell phones. We didn't have social media. So I think that's the negative part of social media.
Right, but the sentiment was always there.
Oh, it was always there.
The sentiment predated World War II. The sentiment, if you believe,
I do believe
our
that.
version of the Torah, right,
Yeah.
goes back thousands of years to when Pharaoh enslaved Jews
That's
in
true.
Egypt.
I think, I
So-
think that's true. And I also think that we always will survive it all. It doesn't mean that we're not going to have a lot of loss along the way, which we have had and then continue to have a history. But I do believe that we are resilient and that we are strong, and that could be part of why we're hated as well, because we're not going to, cower.
Also, which leads me to my question, as a woman in a very male-dominant profession, what challenges have you had to face, and how did you overcome that? Because you have this very powerful but quiet presence about you that is powerful without saying much.
Like the Godfather.
So in a male...
Not wearing a ring.
You're
though.
the
kiss
godmother.
the ring. In a male-dominant, what challenges did you face, or did you?
Yeah, no, I mean, that's really a great question, and you're going to be surprised by one of the answers I'm going to tell you. When I first, and this is before I was an elected official, I was a commissioner. I was on the Traffic and Parking Commission, the Planning Commission, different commissions in the city. And I was very young when I got involved. And in terms of being on council, which I've been very fortunate about, the men that I've worked with on council have always been very respectful to me. They know, and they have said publicly many times that I work really hard. I have a tremendous work ethic, and maybe it is because I felt that I needed to prove myself.
Right.
When I ran the first time and won, and I came in first, and I went every precinct. And that had never happened before. And I, at that time, don't think I knew my value. Like, I felt like, I don't know that many, as many, like, I figured, like, my friends are going to vote for me, but I don't know who all those other people are that did. And I think at that time, again, this was a long time ago, it was my own sense of, like, really overachieving for myself to prove it to myself that I was
Right.
worthy of that. I've since grown to now feel comfortable in my own skin. So some of it was my own battle with myself, which women have.
Yes.
And I see that because now I try to mentor other women, and men too. You know, I do this with my male colleagues who I feel like you need a woman's intuition on this. But I see women who like feel, I'm not sure I'm good enough to do this, where a man for the same job is like ready to go in. So I think I had a bit of that where I needed to feel comfortable with myself that, yeah, I deserved that. I worked hard. So I think some of it is really just being comfortable in your own skin and helping other people become, holding up a mirror to them. That's it.
What advice would you give young women that want to get into politics?
I would say the same advice that my mom told me every day, which I heard every day, which is to never give up. Because there's going to be some tough times, there's going to be some real challenging times, and to find other people who are your people. Because in politics or in any career or in any life, I mean in friendships, there are going to be people that just aren't your people, that they don't view the world the way you do. They don't interact, they don't have the same values. So I think for me, I found people who believed in me, who I could trust, who were really genuinely rooting for me, who helped mentor me, who held up a mirror and said to me, you can do this. And I think it's the same sort of thing as for women to surround themselves with other people who are kind and have the same values. And then I think you can do that in any career. It's really
Correct.
about the circle that you surround yourself with.
That's
me.
great advice.
So are we going to see a fourth mayoral term?
Oh, gosh, no.
No?
No.
Do you have any other political aspirations?
No. Nothing,
Not at all?
nothing political, nothing that would involve, but nothing that would involve running for office, I can tell you that. But I also want to tell you that when I was very involved in the schools and everybody said to me, you're going to run for city council. I was in my 30s and then 40s, with my kids, and they were like, you're going to run for council. When are you running for? And I said to them, never. I'm never going to run for city council. Guess what? I ran for city council. So I've learned to never say never, but in this instance, I pretty much really feel that in terms of elected office, I feel like I left nothing on the table. I gave every ounce of my being to this, but I also feel that I can be very, and will be, very effective in whatever comes my way that feels like that's where I need to be. And my voice, whether I am elected or not, my voice is still going to be very, very much out there. You'll still be seeing my posts and being involved in things that I hope make a difference.
We could have had a good ticket.
Hey, you know what? If you want to do it.
So what do you think is going to be next?
Everything that's happened in my life, Kevin, has never been planned, which is really interesting.
I didn't ask you what are you planning next. I said, what do you
What do I think
might
is
be
next? Okay. What I think is next is the ability to hopefully make some change in the dynamic that I'm seeing in the world right now. And I want to be in situations where I could bring light, because I feel that we are in a time right now where there's a lot of darkness, and I think the only way to get through that is to bring light. So I am opening it up to the universe for opportunities that will feel right to me to say yes to. And I think that's the other thing that has changed. When I first became involved in anything, I said yes to everything. everything. Like, oh, that sounds good, I'll do it. I said yes to everything.
So you had zero work balance and personal life.
No, I mean, I'm really fortunate and blessed. I'm married to an amazing guy, and I have 2 great sons, and John has supported me throughout this whole journey, and he is a solid guy within himself.
Right.
Where, like the more I shine, the more he shines, and vice versa. So I would never be able to be sitting here or have done what I've done in this career that I've been on if I didn't have his support the way I've had. So that is no question.
And he'll always tell you that he introduces himself as Lily's husband.
Because people
love that.
Yeah, people would literally go up to him and say, "Hi, where's Lily?" I mean, not even "Hi, John." It's like, "Hi, where's Lily?" But I just, this whole path has been a series of things that came to me, and then I chose to do it. But I think what I found within myself now is I've learned to say no.
It's an art.
That I never used to do. That I don't think I ever said no to anything. I mean, I literally would have 30 things on my plate in one day because I never wanted to. I could do that. I could do it. But now I really feel that I want to, like, does this feel like this is going to be nourishing for me?
Well, and as a person that wants to bring light, you got to make sure that the projects or whatever's going to take your time is going to is going to give you the ability to access that light to make it even brighter, as opposed to taking your time away from a mission that's really, really important to you, which is bringing light. We need light. We need light seekers. We need light healers in this world. So that's amazing. You've accomplished so much. I was reading about you. What is the thing that you're most proud of, do you think, of all your accomplishments? The list is incredible.
I would have to say what I'm proudest of is the sense of, and I think it kind of goes back to where we started in some of this conversation, was the sense of community and approachability and connection that I feel our city had and does have, even though it's a challenging time, while I have been an elected official. I think whether some people might have agreed or disagreed with a vote or whatever, that's normal, but I don't think there's anybody who would ever say that Lili was, not there if he or she wanted to talk about something. I can pick up a phone call. People were connected with each other. They felt like they knew their neighbors. And that to me is more than, I think it's great that we have this real-time watch center because safety in Beverly Hills will forever be changed because of it. So I'm proud of that initiative. So I think that changed the future of policing and safety, and I'm proud of that. But what I'm really most proud of is the sense of community that I got to be a part of, and the community, not only for myself, but what I saw people having with each other. And that to me is something that I will always be grateful for, that I was a part of that.
Well, I don't know what the future holds, Lili, but I know that whatever you do is going to be amazing. Your spirit, your light, you just bring a lot of warmth.
Good aura.
I mean, I've met you for the first time, and I feel that, and I know that Kevin and Danny are huge fans and was so excited to have you on, and I can see why. You truly are such a light.
I feel that way about you guys.
Yeah, there's not many
Thank
people
you.
that I've met as an adult who I have so quickly just I've been attracted to, just wanted to be around, and just felt like I feel like I'm not the first time we met. Not the second time. The third time. The third time we
time's the
met.
charm.
The third time we met, I really felt connected to you.
But you got to remember when I met Danny, that was the first time, second time, third time. So with her, it was like immediate. With you, you know.
I'm like I'm chopped liver.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, it's like, but Danny to me is like she is like the sunshine. So when you're next to the sunshine,
She's
but
light too. She's light attracts light.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But he's pretty special.
Yeah, he is.
And the
Well,
fact
We'll
that
give
you
him
guys,
that.
I'm not
throw
going to
him a
argue
bone.
with either of
We'll
you.
throw him a bone. So, Lili, Dr. Brenner or Kevin asked this question for all our guests, and unfortunately, we're wrapping up the show. But it was such a pleasure to have you on, and
told you.
I hope it happens again.
I'm
and,
honored.
She's not running again, so forget it.
Oh my God!
yeah, but you never know what will appear that might be interesting to
That's
talk
true.
about.
Exactly.
Oh, there's always something interesting.
That's
to talk
right.
about. So my one question is, had you not gone on this trajectory with your life, and you had not gotten into city council and mayor's office and stuff, like, what do you think you would have done?
Been a psychologist.
Ooh.
Really?
Yeah, that was my background. I always.
Is that what you studied at SC?
It is. It is. And I was doing that. I was working at UCLA Hospital in the NPI when I met John, actually. So
He was a patient?
He was? Yeah. That's funny. I'm going to tell him you said that.
Oh, he's going to hear it when he hears the when he
Oh,
listens to the
yes,
podcast.
We're gonna have to cut that one.
Yeah. I mean, and it's really because I love connection. I love depth.
I was going to say you would have been an amazing psychologist.
Yeah, I was the person at UCLA Hospital that when people were getting admitted, I would be the first person that they would meet, and I would do their intake and talk about, I did this Hamilton Depression Scale. I don't know if they still do that anymore, but I love connection, as you know, and I love real, authentic depth. And I think the only disadvantage, though, about being a therapist is you don't get to share your part. You're there to help the other individual.
Facilitate.
But you're not necessarily, being the one that is sharing your part. But I would love to be able to, if I hadn't gone down that road, I would say that would be where I would have seen myself. But I do think that part of what makes me who I am, I bring into this role. Every relationship that I meet, and every person that I meet, I'm always asking questions that, as you know, that are not the typical, like, what's your favorite restaurant? What do you like to, let's go deep a little bit. Let's go
Right.
deep. So that's probably what I would have done.
Real questions. I got it.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
with you.
Really.
I see you.
I see you.
All right, cool. Well, Lili, as always, it's an absolute pleasure talking with you, and
I love
now
it.
we have it documented.
I love it. Thank you
So
for.
now, if you ever pass me by on the street and you don't recognize me,
Now I will.
I'm gonna be like, "But we spent an hour talking together on the podcast."
Yeah, I'm going to remember Elizabeth, though.
Everyone remembers Elizabeth.
No, but I have to say how much I have loved doing this.
Oh, well, good. I'm glad. It was fun.
And I think you're pretty awesome.
Oh, well, you're too sweet. Thank you.
Yeah. So.
He's all right.
well.
Yeah. So, Lili, right before we wrap up the show, I know people are going to want to reach out to you. What is the best way, if you could tell our listeners how to contact you, your either social media, website,
Home
anything?
address,
Yeah, John would love
bank
that.
account numbers, social security.
I'm very much on social media, Instagram, Lili Bosse 1, and I'm on Twitter, also Lili Bosse, and it is me who manages it. So if you write me, you will hear from me.
It's true.
I don't have anybody, I don't have any staff. I never, it's always been my voice. And
true.
I also have a website, lilibosse.com, and on there has an email address. So you will definitely get me, trust me, and would love to connect with anybody who wants to connect with me. But number one, connect with you.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so
Thank you.
much. It was
Thank
a
you.
pleasure.
I've loved it. Great, great, great.
Thanks so much for listening to Beyond the O.R. with Dr. Brenner. Make sure to subscribe, like, and follow so you don't miss any future episodes. In the meantime, hit me up on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at Kevin Brenner MD, and kevinbrennermd.com.